Silas Marner by George Eliot. Presentation by G. Sowdambika, Guest Lecturer, English Department SF, CPA College, Bodinayakanur. Silas Marner by George Eliot. When a lonely, luckless old man is robbed of his life savings, it seems that fate has played one last cruel trick on him until the mysterious appearance of a homeless, golden haired little girl opens an unexpected new chapter in his life, bringing a breath of innocence and the healing gift of love to the embittered waver of revelry. The man name is Silas Marner. What can I infer? What do I know? What can I see? What makes this character look different? What does his expressions tell us? What words would you use to describe him? Students may listen. Please write down the answer for these questions. To investigate Eliot's 19th century England, to record contextual informations. A Christmas Carol, or Silas Marner, George Eliot, War of the Worlds, Wells, Pride and Prejudice, Jane Austen, Jane Eyre Bronte, The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, Stevenson. Learn and study one text from the above prescribed list. This assessment will test through a source-based response, knowledge and understanding of the 19th century prose novel. Learners will be expected to comment upon the context of the prose text, the language, structure and form of the text, and key themes, characters and ideas within the text. This exam will test through a source-based response, knowledge and understanding of the 19th century prose novel Silas Marner. You will be expected to comment upon the text of the prose text, the language, structure and form of the text, and key themes, characters and ideas within the text. About the author's background of this time. This is George Eliot. George Eliot was the pen name of Mary Ann Evans. Her mother died in 1836 and from then until his death in 1849. She was her father's housekeeper. After that, she moved to London. Although she was influenced by the evangelical preacher Revellance John Edmund Jones, when younger, she moved in intellectual circles in London that sought to question conventional beliefs. However, it was not just in this or in taking a male pen name that she was unconventional. In 1854, she started to live with G.H. Lewis. They remained unmarried because he had an estranged wife. After his death, she married John W. Cross, who was an old friend in 1880. George Eliot is best known for her novels, but published a variety of work, including articles, poetry, and satirical writing. The Industrial Revolution took place between 1890s and 1860s, a time that saw traditional agriculture and manufacturing methods completely changed as a result of more modern technologies. Obviously, such huge changes had a massive impact on the social and economic conditions on the time, and hence society changed as a whole. It was possible for people to become very rich, but it was also possible for them to lose their livelihood. When Silas Marner arrives in Reveille, he and his skills are viewed with suspicion. Even a settler, if he came from distant parts, hardly ever ceased to be viewed with a remnant of distress, which would have prevented any surprise if a long course of inoffensive conduct on his part had ended in the commission of a crime, especially if he had any reputation for language or showed any skill in handicraft. All cleverness, whether in the rapid use of that difficult instrument, the tongue, or in some other art unfamiliar to villages, was in itself suspicious. This is the part taken from chapter the 1. Reveille is contrasted with Lantern-Yard. When Lantern-Yard is gone, it is replaced by factory. It is tempting to say that George Eliot is celebrating the permanence of the rural community, but his comparison is not the real core of the novel. The Victorian novel. Queen Victoria reigned for over 60 years, and there were many important novels written during this time. These novels often included the difficulties faced by the poorer people of the time, the challenges that the Industrial Revolution brought, the portrayal town and country life, a moral lesson celebrating things like hard work, resolution, and love, as well as good fortune. The moral statement in Silas Marner is quite a complex one. A strong narrative voice. There are often comments that give historical perspective, satire, irony, and humor. Ghost stories and gothic tales were very popular, so the fairy tale feel of some aspect of Silas Marner, and the mystery and suspense attached to some aspects of the plot would not have been a strange to Eliot's audience. Next, we see the plot of the novel. Key points in plot. Silas Marner is a weaver who was accused and framed of murder and so moved to Reveille to escape the prejudice. He has been alone for 15 years and finds pleasure in counting money. One night he has his money stolen by Dunstan, the son of the squire, who robs him after killing his brother Godfrey's horse at the races. When Silas found out, he is distraught and integrates within the community for the first time in search for help. Soon the robbery is take of the village and there is much speculation as to who did it. Neighbors try to console Silas and encourage him to return to church, something he hasn't done in 15 years. On the night of the squire's party, Godfrey's secret wife is making her way to the party to reveal her identity with their child. However, on the way, she takes on overdose and dies outside Silas' house. The child is left to wander inside. On finding the child, Silas runs up to the party where Godfrey recognizes his child and returns to the house with the doctor. He recognizes his wife and is relieved his secret is safe. Silas adopts the child. As the years pass, they return to the church and become accepted and recognized in the community. Godfrey identifies himself to Epi, but she refuses his offer to live with him and stays with Silas. Epi eventually marries and they live happily even after with Silas. Chapter 1, Introduction and Lanternard Events, which were 15 years earlier. In the early 1800s, when spinning wheels were popular in farmhouses and prosperous houses alike, solitary men traveled across the English countryside seeking workers, weavers. Inhabitants of small towns were aware of strangers, such as these weavers, suspicious of anyone or anything from a world not within their direct experience. Any intelligent or skill possessed by a man was seen as further evidence of his foreignness or worse communication with evil forces. One linen weaver named Silas Marner resides in a cottage near the village of Reveille besides a stone pit. Local boys are both fearful of, fascinated by Marner, and often peek in at his windows only to receive a gaze of disapproval from the weaver who dislikes their instruction. The boys had cured their fathers and mothers hint of Marner's abilities to cure sickness, no doubt acquired through demon worship. The villagers of Reveille, who led lives of hard work and possessed little imagination, could not suppose that the same person could possess uncommon skill on benevolence. True or false? Students, I ask some questions. The occupation of weaving is shown to be both a job and a way of life that separates the weaver from regular society. The weaver often must travel during the time period in which traveling was difficult and therefore rare. Rural villagers mistake hard and skills for evil powers, which emphasizes the backwardness and isolation of these communities. These all are true. So, what do you learn about Silas? Silas Marner's occupation as a weaver requires him to spend long hours in solitary employment. His already suspicious occupation is reinforced by his ability to use herbs to cure sickness, which was a magic different from prayer to God. Marner's interaction with the local boys and his ability to help others with natural remedies demonstrated how the villagers control his natural goodness. Now, try these questions also. At the beginning of the novel, how long has Silas lived in Reveille? What has discouraged his neighbors from befriending him? Silas' fit is seen as a spiritual experience rather than a medical one. Why is this? How was life in Lanternard different for Silas? Who is William John and how does he betray Silas? List many things you can remember about Silas' life in Lanternard, why this is part of novel important and how does his character here compare with this character at the end of the play. What is Silas Marner's vacation? From what physical handicap did Silas Marner suffer? So many questions are asked in their slide. You write your answers in the notebooks and post it in our Google Classroom. Okay, students, thank you so much.